Good evening, and thank you for keeping a date with us on the program Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria, a program that showcases Nigeria's agricultural potentials and the effort of government and other stakeholders in harnessing the potentials for all-round development. I'm your host, Gabriel Ojile. Tonight, we are discussing the importance of the Rural Development Department of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in ensuring food security of the nation and improved livelihoods of rural dwellers. But before then, we have news from the diary of the ministry. Keep watching.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
In the news tonight, Agric Ministry to partner Harvest Harmonics to boost production, and Edo State government flags off input distribution to farmers. Sit back and watch. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has pledged to work with Harvest Harmonics on a technology trial in Nigeria and possible adoption to boost food production in the country. Harvest Harmonics has developed a technology that has the capacity to give information about components of the soil, health of animal and other agricultural purposes, and its trials are ongoing in some Nigerian universities. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Temitope Peter Fashedemi, who was represented by the Director, Agricultural Land and Climate Change Management Services, Oshadia Olanipekun, made this pledge during a courtesy call by officials of Harvest Harmonics to the ministry. Oshadia stated that the technology holds promise in line with the mandate of the ministry, adding that the ministry will work with the company in testing the efficacy of the technology and for recommendation to farmers.
We want to reduce emissions as much as possible. So the gesture is in tandem with the ministry's mandate to increase agricultural productivity, enhance food and nutrition security of the citizenry, and promote a resilient environment.
In his presentation, the representative of Harvest Harmonic in Nigeria and African continent, Professor Charles Adetunji, stated that the technology has the capacity to generate data about soil and it has been proven to increase crop and livestock production in the Western world. He said that the company is testing it in Nigeria and would like the ministry to be aware and key into the technology.
Harmonics have come up with the technology. What is the technology? This is the technology you can see on the screen that have been revolutionary to boost crop production. Not only crop production, aquaculture. Not only aquaculture, animal husbandry also. So it's highly encompassing. What it does, it purifies impurity from the soil, mitigates a lot of chemicals, and has soil activity. When soil activity is being boosted, there will be increase in normal geoactivity that will increase agricultural productivity. Now, I'm not just talking for Nigeria alone. These have been established by best listed university in the whole world.
In a bid to ensure food security, the Edo State government recently flagged off the distribution of agricultural inputs to smallholder farmers in the state. Governor Godwin Obaseki, who was represented by the State Commissioner of Agriculture and Food Security, Stephen Idehenry, flagged off the distribution at Irua, the administrative headquarters of Esan local government area. He stated that the program is targeted at over 4,000 farmers across the state. The governor further stated that about 470 farmers across the 5 local government areas in Edo Central Senatorial District will benefit from the input distribution. The governor urged the beneficiaries to optimally utilize the input to boost food production to ensure food security in the state. The inputs distributed include 9,900 bundles of cassava stems, 2,115 kilograms of maize seeds, over 800 bags of NPK fertilizer, urea fertilizer, herbicides, 25 multipurpose grinding machines, and 2 tricycles. You are watching Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria. According to data from the World Bank, in 2022, about 102 million Nigerians are living in rural communities across the country. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is one of the government institutions charged with the mandate to ensure the development of rural communities in Nigeria, and to achieve this goal, the ministry has a Department of Rural Development. In our next segment, Records of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, we shall focus on the importance of the Department of Rural Development of the ministry, highlighting the need for its existence, its achievements, and need for more funding to achieve greater results. Keep watching.
Rural communities are a common sight in Nigeria. According to World Bank data, over 100 million Nigerians live in the rural communities characterized by underdevelopment. But it is worthy of note, however, that most of the food produced in Nigeria is undertaken by the rural dwellers. This underscores the need to give adequate attention to rural development. In July 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu changed the name of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. The change of name of the ministry, however, does not in any way undermine the focus and commitment of the ministry to rural development. The Department of Rural Development of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is charged with mandate to ensure improved life for the rural communities.
The mandate of rural development, as the name depicts, is to promote rural infrastructure to guarantee food production and security for the Nigerian populace, even guarantee exportation. The department mainly ensures that we connect the hinterland where food is being produced to the urban settlements without any hitches. And by so doing, it guarantees the avoidance of post-harvest loss, because you find out that when they do production in the rural communities, sometimes it's very difficult to transport those food products to the center where consumption is higher.
Engineer Adole Ada Francis, a director in the department, says the fortunes of rural communities have improved significantly as a result of the activities of the department.
The department is into the rehabilitation and construction of rural roads, provision of infrastructure, sometimes contributions in secondary school, rural water, rehabilitation, rural energy, rural markets, rural housing, and also ensure that the non-farm sector of the economy is also developed in the agricultural line.
The Department of Rural Development of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is also divided into different divisions and units to actualize its mandate.
We have various divisions. Rural infrastructure, where there is rural roads, rural electrification, rural water, rural housing, and then the rural financing, and then non-farm activity. So these are the aggregates of the divisions and units that we have, that we use as a vehicle to implement all these activities we have as our mandate.
The Rural Infrastructure Division takes care of rural electrification and rural roads to connect rural communities with towns and cities, as well as ensuring the electrification of rural communities.
This unit is the cardinal, the pivotal unit of the department, rural road. You agree with me that an individual can buy a generator and put in his house. An individual can decide to get his money and sink borehole in his house. But how many individuals can do road? So that is why I tell you it's pivotal. And with road, my brother, everything in that community is what? Transformed. Take for instance, I put a road here. Maybe before we did the road, the land will go for 250,000. By the time you finish that road, that same land goes for into millions. Those are some of the impact of creating this road. Timeliness. When there is no road, you take 2 hours. With road, it may take 20 minutes, 30 minutes. What am I saying in essence? The rate at which our agricultural produce got spoiled is going to reduce.
In that unit, we strictly focus on the provision and installation of all-in-one, 3-in-1 solar street lights. I'm sure you must have been seeing this around. This is strictly to ensure that there is enough light, at least within the community, and also to grant social, more or less social interaction, social inclusion of the various family within our various rural enclave. Then we also provide what we also refer to as solar inverter system, which is strictly targeted at hospitals and schools, And of course, the final one is the issue of the mini grid system.
Aside the mini grid project and the impact it has on the people, renewable energy is another aspect of the activities of the rural department that has also impacted on hospitals and schools in recent times.
Most of the honorables now, I'm talking about the National Assembly, most of them now, they have found rural development as a good entry point into making this available at their various constituencies. And we have so much that we have done and that we are still doing. And I said this cuts across, not just in one state, cuts across all the states. For the inverter system for schools and the hospitals, we've not done much, but we've had a presence in Ilorin, Kwara State, especially, what's the name of this secondary school now? Queen's College in Ilorin. We've had visibility there. We've had visibility, especially in the school. These are targeted to their laboratories to be able to power their various, small equipment.
In addition to the recent achievements made by the Department of Rural Development, in the wake of the outbreak of the COVID-19 disease, the Nigerian government rolled out a series of measures to not only save lives, but to also contain the crippling effects of the pandemic on the nation's economy and the well-being of Nigerians. During that period, the department also constructed rural roads, rural electrification, and rural water projects across different states of the Federation.
But I think our biggest achievement was when we had the COVID fund, which we fully utilized. And I'm sure the evidences are available everywhere across the 6 geopolitical zones for anybody to see. And the roads are still there for themselves.
The program is transforming agriculture in Nigeria, and we are discussing the importance of rural development in ensuring food security and improved livelihoods in Nigeria. There is need for synergy between the local, state, and federal governments, as well as private organizations and individuals, in ensuring that rural communities across the country have basic amenities. In our next segment, we shall focus on challenges and level of partnership between the stakeholders to develop rural communities. Keep watching.
The importance of developing the rural communities cannot be overemphasized. It helps in making farming easier, prevents post-harvest losses, and enhances socio-economic life of rural dwellers.
Transforming the rural sector economically, agriculturally, giving them a life to live. This, if we're able to achieve, we mitigate rural-urban migration, create employment for the rural people. You understand? Giving a sense of belonging to them, reducing the urban population. Because the time you position the rural sector very well, the urge to move to urban center will reduce. And with all this basic infrastructure given to the rural sector, even our youth will develop a better interest in agriculture.
The rural communities also have a role to play by making their challenges known to the government through a letter to the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security.
The procedure is simple. Based on your needs, like I told you, as a department, we are into rural road construction. We are into promotion and promotion of solar systems and also rural markets and housing. So whichever area that the community is in need, the right to either through the Honorable Minister or through the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, who is the accounting officer, he will ensure that he route to us appropriately. But at the National Assembly level, it is a constituency matter. So if they are interested in getting rural market and housing, of course, they provide for it in their own constituency budget. And when eventually it comes to the ministry, we ensure that we do the needful in providing what is needed, each of these 3 or 4 components.
The challenges of Rural Development Department range from insecurity, inadequate funds, high cost of construction, among others.
The insecurity, our engineers are finding problem in going to areas that are very hazardous to attempt to even go there to do survey, talk less of monitoring work. So these are the 2 major things. The other ones are normal ones, like manpower, because each month or quarter, you find out that our engineers are retiring and there is no replacement. So this one is surmountable for now, but I think for the good of the department and the system, it will be good to revisit issue of employment of skilled labor and even unskilled, so that succession plan will key in properly and guarantee availability of manpower at all times.
The challenges can be surmounted through partnership with different stakeholders. The Department of Rural Development is working with Rural Electrification Agency to make more impact in rural development across the country.
The ministry has a lot of partners, and even within the ministry we have our partners. It's just like human body. Every part of the body needs the others to work. Let me take the mini grid. We partner with REA. We have been having several series of meetings because we equally do same thing with what they do. And we are looking on areas where we can synergize. They are very interested in the area of agriculture. We are also interested in the area of energy. So in our mandate, rural electrification is part of our mandate. And that is, from their name, you know, this is what they do. So by the time we know we are doing same thing for same government, we have already established about several files on this table now is from rural electrification. Some of the workshops we had, meetings we had, our proposals, what we should do.
The Department of Rural Development is also collaborating with the National Assembly and development partners to address the developmental needs of the rural communities.
We have a lot of partners, including donor-funded projects. Like now, there is this agency they call RAMP. I don't know if you have heard of it. RAMP is an offshoot of rural development. RAMP was given birth in these departments. And I'm sure RAMP has equally contributed immensely into provision of rural road, cutting across the 6 geopolitical zones. And RAMP is a World Bank project, French Development Agency, African Development Bank. They are all people funding this project. They are one of our donors. Then there are private individuals that just feel like they want to assist their communities. Come and help us survey this small road and let's see how it looks like.
For the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to meet the development needs of rural communities in Nigeria, there is need for the federal, state and local governments as well as development partners to lend more support to the department.
It's for the president to put more eyes and interest in the rural infrastructure and development, because by doing so it will guarantee employment generation, it will guarantee food security, it will guarantee free movement and healthy citizens, because all what you have at the city center, the people in the rural have.
Rural development holds the key to the socio-economic rapid development of this country. 80% of our farmers, when I say farmers, I mean genuine farmers, not suitcase farmers, reside in the rural area. Yes. And it is even in these rural areas you can have access to mass land. As we are in Abuja here now, I need 100 hectares to farm. Where will I get it? So these rural areas should be given priority.
There is also need for more synergy between the federal government and construction companies to grant waivers on some of the heavy-duty equipment and engage local engineers to achieve more road projects and other developmental needs of rural communities.
We need to come together. And I know that government has so much to do in this direction by really bringing your brains together and think solution to, putting food on the table, whatever it takes. And when we're talking about putting food on the table, this still goes back to rural development. So whatever Mr. President can do to ensure that he brings in his engineers, nobody will come and solve our food problem. We have to solve our food problem ourselves. So my own advice to Mr. President is that agriculture in Nigeria will go nowhere until we engineer it. It's important. This will be my own take. There is, whatever you want to do, you must engineer our agriculture where presently we stand. And we have the brain to do this. It's just to ensure that they are properly encouraged and engaged.
Rural communities deserve to have all the social amenities that will give them improved livelihood. This will ensure increased productivity and food security for the nation. Legislators, governors, local government chairmen, development partners, and other stakeholders must make rural development a top priority for a more prosperous country. Keep a date with us same time, same station next week for another interesting episode. Till then, bye for now.